Do you ever get super into something and you find yourself not wanting to sleep because you just want to work on your thing or do your new thing? And then you also just are revved up. Like your thoughts are faster, your speech is faster, and you're also maybe making more impulsive decisions. Maybe other people are irritating you a little bit more because they're keeping you from doing this thing that you're super excited about, and your energy and your mood is just really elevated for like 4 days. So I went on perplexity.ai to ask what is going on with me. I've had this happen many times in my life. And I was worried about myself because if I don't get enough sleep and if I work too much, then I get vertigo, and vertigo is nasty. I do not want to get it. So I was just asking, like, what is wrong with me? And this thing called hypomania popped up, and it's a lesser, so like there's bipolar disorder, and right before that is something called hypomania. And it can be a really cool, good thing. It can make you do really awesome things. And especially in entrepreneurship, it can really move your business forward. But it can also have some bad effects because you have this elevated sense of your own intelligence. Meaning you just think all of your ideas are good. And so if you're resonating with any of this, definitely keep listening because I'm going to tell you what we can do about it to make sure that it ends up being a good thing in our life and not something that makes us spend all of our money on a new course that we just think is going to change our life, or spending all of our money on a new business idea that isn't fully vetted, things like that. And I made another video on my entrepreneur channel while I was in the middle of the hypomanic state, and it's all about how it applies to me being an entrepreneur. But I wanted to share it on my personal growth channel here as well because I think that some of you might identify with this, and I've seen it with my obsession with YouTube. And I'll go just for day after day, just so obsessed with YouTube. And I haven't done this in a while. I documented that hyperfixation, and then I documented like, I don't care anymore. It's great. I'm going to keep doing it. I love YouTube. It's fun, but I'm not hyper obsessed with it like I was, which brings me to another point, that obsession or hyperfixation is different from hypomania. And there's a broad spectrum. So I don't think I have severe hypomania. You might not even be able to call it hypomania because I am able to sleep. I just found myself waking up every hour wanting to go work on my thing, asking Alexa if it's 4 a.m. yet, because I felt like 4 a.m. was a reasonable time to get up and go back to work. I don't know, maybe I do have the full-fledged thing. Anyways, but obsession or hyperfixation is an intense preoccupation with a particular topic or activity, and that can occur in conditions like OCD, ADHD, or anxiety disorders, and it's not necessarily accompanied by mood or energy changes. So the mood and energy change is what really makes it a hypomanic state versus like the hyper obsessive fixated state. Going back to some of the symptoms of hypomania before we go into what to do about it, we talked about the increased energy and activity levels, the elevated mood, kind of like a euphoria or extreme happiness. It's a really fun state to be in, trust me. And then there's the decreased need for sleep without feeling tired. So you don't feel like you need to sleep and you're not tired. And then the inflated self-esteem or grandiosity. And then rapid speech and racing thoughts, increased sociability and talkativeness, distractibility and difficulty focusing. So what I noticed about myself is I would jump topics in the middle of talking to somebody. I would just keep jumping topics. And then the impulsive behavior is what can really get us into trouble, such as excessive spending or risky decision making. And what I love about this is we can make it our superpower. So if you've found yourself in these states and this is resonating with you, and you've always kind of wondered what's going on. I thought it was maybe my hormones. I have made YouTube videos where I'm like, sometimes I'm on top of the world And then sometimes I feel like I don't know anything and what's going on. And it can be a superpower in that we can get a lot done and we can have really cool ideas during this time, because when your self-confidence is sky high, you just are thinking about all of these things and you're excited about all of these things. But one of the bad things that can happen is when you come down off of it. This most recent time I felt a little jet lagged was the feeling. And if you made decisions during your hypomanic state that affected your life, such as maybe you spent way too much money, or maybe you signed up for way too many things. I've done that. I've signed up to like 4 masterminds at once, for example. And then when you're out of the hypomanic state and you're just trying to hang on for dear life and follow through on these things that you promised, or continue the thing going that you invested in, and that's where a little bit of depression can set in. And so sometimes the depression or the sadness is just because of the decisions that you made during your hypomanic state, and sometimes it can be more of a chemical thing. But what I love about this is I love that the solution or the lifestyle changes that we need to make are kind of the lifestyle changes that are recommended for everything, such as mindfulness, meditation, because when we're self-aware, then we know that we're entering this state and we can put some safeguards on ourselves. We can say, okay, I'm not going to make a decision right away. I'm going to wait 48 hours before making any decisions, or you can say a week before making any big decisions. You can put these safeguards up for yourself because you know that it's happening. And part of the reason that I even realized that this was a thing is because I've been journaling every day for 5 years how I feel. And I've been noticing these big highs and then the lows that follow. And my lows don't get too low, because whenever I get low, I know to go for a walk. And I'm going to make a video about dopamine. I'm going to make a series of videos actually about our brain and dopamine and what chronic stress does to us, and just kind of how to feel good. We can't feel good all the time. That doesn't exist, but I think we can really feel good most of the time and then know how to deal when we're not feeling good. And when I'm not feeling good, like I said, I take a walk, I exercise. Exercise is amazing for everything that might be wrong with us. Exercise is like the miracle drug. It really is. And I also journal what I'm feeling, and I ask myself, why am I feeling it? Is that thing even true? Is that thought even true? And that really helps me get out of it. And I've made a video about that. I'll link it up here as well. And I think I'm going to keep talking about that because it's such an important subject. But anyways, my sadness or down states don't last very long. However, making my YouTube videos, there was a period just in this last year where I had to get myself out of things that I got into. And it just felt like time after time I was making these videos and I was talking about how I'm down and I'm trying to get out of it and I'm trying to get myself unstuck. And the things that I was getting myself out of, I probably got myself into them during hypomanic states, more than likely. And unfortunately, one of my superpowers is being miserable for a long time. I have a lot of resilience. I can keep things going even when it's sacrificing myself and it feels really bad. And some of these decisions that I made, they were like 2 decades in the making. And I just kept them going. And I've talked in other videos about why I've kept them going, because of the sunk cost fallacy and the endowment effect, things like that. So going back to the things that we need to do in order to regulate is to maintain a regular sleep schedule as well. It's so important. So if we're not getting enough sleep, we're more likely to dip into one of these states that are kind of harmful to us. And then it's so funny, a balanced diet is also recommended, which is just so important for everything. I used to be a nutritionist, and I would talk about how we need water for our brain to function properly. Our brain needs to be hydrated, or else we start to be tired, irritable. Bad things happen when we're not hydrated. There's all these little things to kind of notice. That's why forming good habits is just so, so important. I'm in this stage of my life where I don't want to waste the rest of my life. And I did an exercise where every year of my life, up until 39 years old is when I was 39, I listed the best thing that happened to me each year and the worst thing. And every year, something pretty bad happened to me every single year of my life. And I just realized I don't want my next 39 years to be like this. I want to really figure out how to have a better life, how to go for the things that feel good, and how to get out of these things that keep happening. And I think that the things that, kept happening to me, a lot of them were just, bad luck, right? But some of them stemmed from, I think, the hypomania, where I would be in this state where I thought all my decisions were amazing. I just thought, I thought everything was just going to be so great. And I've always had a positive and optimistic outlook. But in that state, I think I've made some decisions that really affected me later. And most of them are business decisions, starting businesses that were just really hard to keep going, and relationship decisions as well, and things that were difficult to get out of, right? And on this channel, I just want to share things that have been helpful to me, things that I'm learning, and see if maybe they spark something in you and you're like, hey, I feel that way too. And then we can work on getting better together. So I'm sharing this. This week has been the first time that I realized that I even had such a thing as hypomania, and I'm sharing it right away with you guys to see if it resonates. And I'm kind of excited about the next time that it happens, because I'll know that it's happening and I can throw myself into the work and then have the safeguards as well. One of the safeguards is doing cutoff times when you're working. So no more than 4 hours in a row, and then you have to take an hour break with a walk, things like that. And it's called adaptive hypomania when you use it to your advantage. You use it like a superpower. So that's what I'm hoping to do. I would love to hear from you if you've ever felt this way, or if you've ever seen the symptoms and what you've done about it and how you manage it, if you already know that that's you. And I'm excited for us to keep growing and learning together. Bye.